Now, another interesting conversion tool that Google Analytics provides is the goal flow report. We've seen a couple of this style previously, and this one is going to be similar, but I actually think it makes a little bit more sense. Now, we come up here to the top, of course, as always, we can choose the goal that we want. In this case, we want the full funnel, so we're going to keep purchase completed. We can also see the level of detail. We can show fewer connections or more connections, and we'll see a bit more what that means. Of course, your export options are here as well, although this is an interactive report, so I don't think a PDF is really what we're after. Now, below here is what we want to focus on. I'm going to close this left panel so we have a little bit more room. And just like the funnel visualization report from the last video, we see the same steps leading up to the purchase complete goal. You're here in a cart, then you go to billing and shipping, then you go to payment, then you review it, and then you've got your purchase complete and may exit the site from there. As we see, the blue here is the connections between each of the green milestones, and the red, as indicated, is going to be the funnel exits, just like we saw on the right-hand side of funnel visualizations before. We start here with the segments that we're looking at, the primary dimension. We start out by channel. If we want to understand where the organic search is going, we can click through there. What I'd like to do is actually, let's go ahead and change this. Let's make this region. Now, before we said California, New York, Texas, Florida, these were the big states, lots of population, so it didn't surprise we had lots of users from there. But Washington was a little bit of an outlier there, so let's say we want to look through there. We can first highlight the traffic that just comes through here, and it'll dim out the rest and just show what folks in Washington are doing. Now, what I think is really interesting about this is, unlike the very neat funnel before, this shows that people take a very circuitous path. People can loop back around, they can go back and forth through the cart before they finally come through the end. Now, if I want to do this even more and maybe see this a bit clearer, I can view only this segment, and that will clear out everything else except for Washington. And there I can see a much clearer picture of what is going on as we look through here. But again, we still have those loop backs, people moving back and forth. So when we come here, we'll see the numbers that we saw on the funnel before. 38% of folks are going on to other steps. 62% are heading for the exits. And then if we go actually look here at what's going on with the exits, we can see a little bit more of those. And we can do the same through here. We go to group details. It's going to give us a bit more info. Here we can see a few different reports kind of within here at each step. Again, this is the billing and shipping step. We can see the exits. We can see the top pages and so on. If we come back here and clear all of that out, come back to purchase completion and see all of them here again, we'll see a few more details on the funnel exits as well, now that we have the full picture. And I think it's important to point out that these green ones are not pages per se. These are milestones that we've set up in the goals. Now, in a cart, they often will be pages, but it could be a single page cart, and they don't have to necessarily be, but we have to have some way of indicating to Google Analytics how we've reached each one of these milestones. And also, they don't necessarily have to be a final cart from here. And if we shifted to a different type of goal, such as a goal for any time someone saw a product detail page of any kind, or an engagement goal like the time on site or number of pages viewed, those could occur on any page. So they're not tied to a specific URL. And that's why these green ones are really more about milestones and our goals. Okay, and lastly, if we can expand the spacing a bit, if we want to see a different way of viewing these through here. We went to the extreme there, but if we back this down a bit to the middle, you can see how we can adjust the spacing here as well if you want to see a different visualization or zoom in for more detail. Okay, so I encourage you to check those out. Again, it's an interactive report, so I think it opens up a lot of different kinds of analysis. If you want these kinds of visualization reports for these conversions, you got to be on top of your game. You've got to have your goals set up, configured, be fully functioning to provide the best, most accurate data to these reports, or you're not going to get as much out of them. Once you can get those set up, I think this goal visualization report can actually be pretty powerful. It's insightful, and most of all, it's actionable. It makes it easy for us to visualize those paths our visitors take on the way to conversion, and we can spot those trends quickly. So best way to learn this one is really just to dive in. I encourage you to do just that.